Welcome back to Investing with Humility. My name is Bruno, and on this video, we'll get right to it and discuss retirement plans. So, what will we cover? We're going to cover four plans which are really popular in the United States to every person who is either working at a public company or a public sector. All these plans, this is what you're going to see offered to you. So we will cover the 401 plans. These are characterized by employer matching your contributions. A good example of this is that, if you put 5% down, your employer will tell you, I will also put 5% down. Now, your employer will have a specific limit that, they have designated that they will match, but that does not necessarily mean that you can only contribute, up to that limit. You can exceed that limit. Some employers may have a larger limit, some may have a smaller limit. For example, they must have had, based on my previous employers, they would match me up to 9%. So that was very good. So after every pay period, if I contributed up to 9%, they match 9%. So we'll cover the 401k and the 401a plan so that you're aware of how they work. We'll also cover the 457 plan, which is also a good plan. This is characterized by the flexibility of taking withdrawals anytime after leaving employment. Unlike the 401 plan where you have to be 59 and a half and IRAs, the 457 plan, as long as you have left your employer, you can request a withdrawal and all you have to do is pay taxes on the withdrawal that you take. There's no any early withdrawal penalties with the 457 plan. So that is a good option, depending on your needs, of course. All right, we will also cover IRAs. We'll cover traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs. We'll explain the differences so that you can see which one works better for you. And lastly, we'll cover health savings account. Now, why will we cover health savings account? In my opinion, they're really good because if you think about it, you get to contribute these funds, you and your employer are putting funds away, and you get to use these funds to pay for qualified medical expenses, and you're withdrawing these funds tax-free, and it doesn't incur any penalty. And if you're 100% vested, in case you're no longer here, you haven't used everything, these funds can be used with your beneficiaries. So as you can see, it's a really valuable product and you never know when you may have some medical expenses. So those are the plans that we'll cover, and on those plans we will take a look at the features. We'll cover the contributions, what is the maximum amount of contribution that you can make, and the differences after you're age 50 and above. If you want to do a catch-up contribution, we'll explain all the different types of contributions for all these plans, advantages for these plans. So what are the plan benefits? Loans, if you're still employed and you want access to the money from your retirement account, how you can have access through it. Now, I will tell you right now, loans are not a good idea, taking loans from your retirement account. But if this is what, this is your last option and you want to exhaust it, I'll explain how it works. But again, I would really not recommend you taking a loan towards your retirement account. And I'll explain why in a few videos. Withdrawals and taxes. So you will see, how you can request a withdrawal from your account and, the taxes that you should expect after withdrawing the funds. Rollovers, how rollovers work. And, if you want to move your funds from one record keeping company or one financial institution to another, we'll cover all that. Beneficiaries, their role, and, in case you're no longer here, what happened to your funds. So the beneficiaries will be involved at that particular point. We'll cover investments and funds. Now this is critical because this is where the money that is put away towards your retirement is going to be invested. So it's really important to take some time to learn about different types of investments and where you can put your funds away. Okay, and lastly, how to set yourself up for retirement. So we'll cover all these things. If this is something that excites you, subscribe, give us a like, and follow along. Moving along, we'll get started with the 401 plan. So let's start with the 401 plan features. The first feature is pre-tax contributions are not subject to federal and in most cases state income taxes until withdrawn. Okay, meaning when we say pre-tax, it means you have not paid taxes on these funds yet. So these funds are being deducted from your paycheck and they go directly towards your 401 plan. Taxes are deferred until when you request a withdrawal. So let's say you're making more money as you're working. You know, taxes will not be taken until you withdraw. And let's say you retire in the future and you're making less money. So the income tax that you're going to pay after you take a withdrawal, it's going to be based on your income at that particular time. So this is what is referred, and depending on where you would be living. So let's say you were working in New York City and you moved to Florida, and Florida does not have state taxes. So all you have to do is pay federal taxes. So as you can see, there are many benefits for the tax being deferred. Now, I'm not a tax advisor, and I won't tell you, how to organize your taxes or things like that. I will still recommend that you speak to a tax advisor. I'm just explaining the features for the plan. So that is one feature, and it can be a benefit depending on when you retire, if you have a lower income, or if you have structured your taxes in a way that when you withdraw your funds, it's beneficial for you, that you do not have to pay much in taxes. Okay, earnings accumulate tax deferred. Okay, this follow along with our first point. Dollar cost averaging through convenient payroll deductions. So what do we mean by dollar cost averaging? Okay, so when you have your 401 plan, you will be invested in a certain type of fund. Now, either if you have invested in a diversity of funds, or you've just selected one fund, over time you're going to be investing at different price points for that fund. Let's say if it's just a regular mutual fund, at any point that you are putting your funds away, after every paycheck, depending on how the market is performing, you may either be buying high or buying low. But the thing is, you're doing a dollar cost average. So let's say you bought high at one particular point, and the market goes lower. Even though you're losing, you're doing a dollar cost average. So let's say in 2022 the market really went down. The average portfolio, a 401k portfolio, lost about 22%. Now, that means if you kept on having your contributions going towards it, your dollar cost average went down for that particular investment that you're investing in. And in a few years, if the investments go up, meaning you're going to have more returns on your investments. Okay, if that makes sense. Now, not everyone lost about 22%. Some people may have lost less, but that is, according to Fidelity, that was the average loss for a 401 plan. And if you think about it, most of the years are not like 2022. We had inflation, rumor, recessions, wars going on in Ukraine. So those are some of the things which may have caused the market to go down. And you never know, the last thing you want to do when a market is going lower is sell all your funds and put them in either a safe value fund or just something which is, sort of like cash, which will be in a safe value fund, right? But the last thing you want to do is that, and the reason for that is you have already lost that money. And what do we mean? I will introduce this concept now so that you get used to it as we discuss it in the future videos. But there's something called unrealized gains and unrealized losses, meaning when your portfolio is up 20%, you have not gained all those returns yet until you sell your position. So that is considered unrealized gain. And when your portfolio is 20% lower, that is considered unrealized loss because you have not sold your position. The moment that gain or that loss is realized is the moment you exit that position. Now, you want to be very clear of when you exit the position. Why is that? Because if you exit the position when you're higher, that is fine. You have made a better return, and maybe you want to wait and invest when it's lower. But when you exit the position when it's lower and you wait to invest until it's higher, the market is higher, then you may not get the benefit of timing it at the correct time, because no one can time the market. I will tell you right now. So if you're losing funds and you have a safe investment, meaning you're not really like aggressive, it's in your best interest to just ride it along, because in a couple years when the market recovers, as long as your investment you took, you did your due diligence in the type of funds that you invested in, those funds will recover, and you'll make the funds again. Now let's say you know that the market is going to go down while your investment is performing well. Now, in those particular cases, you may decide to exit that position and put it in a stable value fund while you wait for the market to go down. So that is perfectly fine. For example, if you knew, 2022 was going to be a downward trend for the most part, for some of you have probably, you exited, really early on, and you have saved your portfolio from losing, a lot of money. And you can now reinvest back to the same type of investments that you had, but now you have a better position because you exited, while you were ahead. Now that is, I will tell you right now, that is more said than done. And what do I mean by that is that every person you will talk to, they will tell you that I've done this many times, many times. But the thing is, you really cannot time the market. Now, are there going to be situations where you can execute this well? Absolutely. There'll be plenty of situations where you'll execute, a plan like that well. But we still go back to the point that you cannot time the market. Sometimes the market will rally even though you think it may go down, or the opposite happens. So, if you're caught in a position where your portfolio was down for the most part in 2022 and now it's recovering, that is absolutely fine. You have just dollar cost average down. So when the market starts going up, you will start to regain your investments, because over time you'll get your money back. And remember, your 401 plan, it's a combination of your assets and your employer assets. So even if you're only matching the amount that your employer will match you, so even if you're contributing only the amount that your employer is contributing, that means half of the portfolio is your money and half of the portfolio is the employer's money. So even if you lose 20%, your money has not been touched. That is still the employer. Now, if you're investing more than what your employer would match, I can understand you're losing money there, because that, it's dipping towards your money. But that's the power, and really, like, it takes away from the risk for you being in a market. You can look at it in many different ways, but as long as you're contributing the exact match that your employer is contributing towards your account, unless you're losing up to 51%, that is when you have started actually losing your own money. But anything less than 50%, you're really not losing your money. I hope that made sense. Okay. All right. The other thing here is reduces current income taxes while boosting retirement investment. Yes. Why is this? It's because you're putting your funds away, so they're not counted towards, your yearly return. So you're reducing your current tax liabilities, because the amount has been kept away for your retirement plan. All right. The other point is flexibility to consolidate savings in another public sector employer 401 plan, a tax sheltered 443B annuity plan, a 457 plan, or a traditional IRA if they change employers. So essentially, you have the flexibility of rolling over your funds to consolidate with your new employer plan, record keeping company, or you can leave it where it is. You have that flexibility when you have a 401 plan, so you can roll it over at any point. You're not tied to one company, especially if they're not doing a great job with record keeping for you. Participation in a 457 deferred compensation plan is allowed if offered by your employer. What do we mean by this? This means that you can have a 401 plan and a 457 plan if your employer offers a 457 as well. But keep in mind, for the most times, your employer will not match you on your 457. But again, you get the flexibility of drawing the funds from your 457 at any point if you wish. So those are the features for the 401 plan. I hope you're able to get some understanding. If you have any questions, post them below. Thank you for watching another video. Again, have a nice day.